Hi, Wycliffe Barrett, Xplane dedicated. Today we're going to look at the Boeing 737-800 in Xplane 11, but there's something different about it. See you right after the intro.
Good afternoon to you. Report your altitude. 2,000 feet.
The Boeing 737-800 in Xplane 11 is a cracking default plane in Xplane 11. But somebody has done a modification. That person, that somebody is Zibo. Zibo is from the city of Nitra in Slovakia, and he has done a modification to the Xplane 11 737-800. As a result, it now becomes the 737-800X, and what he's doing is he's modifying the FMC, the MCP, and a whole range of other stuff. I'm going to go through all of the modifications at the beginning of the video proper, but I just want to tell you that Zibo first got Xplane in 2015, so not that long ago. He then started learning how to program LUA in December 2016, so that's 2 months ago, and since then of course he's produced this modification to the FMC. Updates come out almost daily for it, and when it's finished it's going to be an absolute masterpiece. Already it makes the aircraft completely flyable and a real joy to use. So I'm going to do a video, I'm going to show you the FMC, the things that he's modified, the things that he hopes to modify in the future, and we'll just see how it goes. It's a short flight from Cardiff to Manchester, it's a good test flight, so let's get right into it. Watch the video now.
So I guess the first thing we need to do is open up Xplane 11, and here you see the Boeing 737-800X. Now I'll try and explain what that means as I go along. Occasionally people do suggest videos for me to do, and I hadn't considered doing this, but Emma Bentley from UKX suggested that I have a look at the FMC and do a vlog on it. So here we are. So basically what happens is that this is a modified FMC, and you have to modify a couple of things. Now the instructions are really straightforward. I'm not going to go through the instructions. Suffice to say that here on the page on xplane.org where it says installation, which is more or less at the top, it explains that it is a modified file of the default Boeing 737-800, and then there's a whole list of everything that's being done. So installation, you've got to change a couple of things, and you end up with two 737-800s. One is the default 800, and then there's the 800X, which is a modified one. Okay, you just follow the installation programs and you'll be fine. So the things that have been changed, systems, so autopilot, level change, VNAV, LNAV, heading, VOR, LOC, approach, altitude, held versus vertical speed and autoland, all of that is being altered. Autothrottle, IRS system, anti-ice, air bleeds, windows heat, hydraulic pumps, fuel pumps, auto brake, speed brake, engine starter, engines idle RPM, automatic crossover attitude, gear leveler, APU start delay and shutdown after cooling, FMC preview version, etc, etc. It is huge. That's just on systems. Then there's the PFD and MCP. The ICAS is going to be developed. Other areas will be improved auto brakes and RTO brake forces. Sounds are going to be adjusted using sounds from different aircraft. What else? If you're a cockpit builder, there'll also be some adjustments there for you as well. It's huge, absolutely massive, and updates come out almost daily for this. So here we are in the 737-800X, and straight away let's have a look at the FMC. And on the left one you'll see something here that says Zibo mod or Zibo mod on the left, and on the right is the default FMC. So there is the modified one, and there is the default one. Now at the moment you have to use the default one as well as the modified one, and that really is just for route inputting. So you have to use the default one for inputting your route, but everything on the modified one, or a lot of the modified one, works. I know it's all very strange and it sounds a bit daft, but let's just go through it. EGFF, I'm going to do a quick flight from Cardiff up to Manchester just to show you the planning stage. So what you can do now is you can actually put the gate in, so for the first time ever you can say what gate you're at. It doesn't make an awful lot of difference to flight planning, but it does allow you to put a gate in there, which is great. So if you go to the route button, it doesn't work. nothing is working. So you have to come over now to the default FMC to put the route in. Now, there are a couple of ways of doing this. You can manually write it in, or you can export a flight plan from the FMS folder in Xplane 11. Okay, but I'm going to manually put it in. Oh, you can see some flight plans there, sorry. So there are some flight plans there, but I am going to manually put it in. So we'll go to the next page, and you can see these are all the ones that were in there, but it says direct to everywhere. So I'm not happy with that. So I'd rather input my flight plan. So it's going to be EGFF, as we can see there, and I'm just going to put EGCC in again, and that will actually overwrite that flight plan that's in there, and I can start putting in my own flight plan. Okay, so Bracken BCN, first waypoint I want to go to. So Bracken BCN, input there. So the Bracken VOR DME. Next page is November 864 is the airway up to Manchester. And then on the right hand side I will put Monty, MONTY. Yep. And now I can execute that and then put my departure and arrival in. So the departure is a Bracken 1 Alpha departure, runway 30, and the arrival into Manchester is going to be a Mercy 1 Alpha arrival onto ILS runway 23. I could use a Mercy transition as well. So there we go. That's that done. All very straightforward and simple. So if you go to the legs page, you can see all of the legs of the route there. And then what we have to do is come back over here now to the perf initialization page, because on the default FMC there isn't a perf initialization page, but there is now in the modified one. So once you've done your flight plan, you come back over to perf initialization and fill all that in. There was a little bit of a problem. I couldn't get the plan fuel in for some reason, but I could do everything else. I didn't bother putting top of climb, altitude, temperature in, but flaps 5 and then all the V speeds. And of course you go to the next page, and you put the wind in, which we can now do, which you couldn't do before in default aircraft in Xplane. So you now have to go back to redo your V speeds. So that so far is correct. We'll just go over to the default flight plan FMC just to check a couple of things, but I think so far so good. So that's it. Just need to set things up on the MCP above and I will be good to go. Just going through some cockpit checks here, just looking at a couple of things, but so far so good. So just running through some final cockpit checks here, just checking everything out, having a look at the flight plan, altering the range there on the primary flight display, and yeah, everything looks good. We might step through that plan in a moment. To do that, of course, I need to go over to the default FMC for the time being. As I say, at the moment you're having to use a combination of the two, but there are more things on the modified FMC than are on the default FMC. And as I say, updates are coming out almost daily for this as it goes through its beta phase, and you can get those. I will put links, of course, in the description below where you can get this from. I'll give you a direct link, and I'm sure you'll be really quite amazed. I'm going to taxi on down to runway 30 here in the 737-800, and I tell you what, this actually makes it very flyable. And finally, in Xplane, we have a 737-800 that is flyable. It's the default aircraft. It's a little bit better than the 737 from EADT. For a default aircraft, it's brilliant. So we're going to get down to the flight line here. I'm going to turn the volume up so you can hear the aircraft, and we'll also have some music just going in the background as we fly north towards Manchester, and you'll be able to see me using the FMC and etc, etc. It's a short flight, of course, because I've adjusted it and edited the film appropriately. Anyway, let's get the music on as we come onto the runway 30 for our takeoff.
Approaching 30. on runway 30, flaps, flaps.
Here we go then, throttles up as we go down runway 30 for our takeoff. Just to mention, I left the highlights on the cursor so you can see what I was doing and where I was doing it. Let's get moving. Here we have a couple of still images that I took on the flight, just showing off really the weather as I flew up to Manchester. This was yesterday afternoon, Saturday, and well, as you can see, the weather was not most favourable, but it was really pretty to look at. This is SkyMax Pro version 4 with real weather connector and FSG RW. All links will be below in the description. As you can see, I'm well into the descent phase here as we come towards Mersey, just checking through things, making sure I've got the correct flap speed inputted for my descent and final approach into Manchester Airport runway 23. Yep, that looks good to me, so we can go back to monitoring the aircraft. So I'm on the reciprocal heading for runway 23, going out towards the teardrop, so make the turn around the teardrop and come in for runway 23. A little bit cloudy at 3,500 feet, but it's okay as we come around, turn around for the ILS runway 23 Manchester. The weather cleared up a little bit and we could begin to have a look at the wonderful scenery below. Here we are just making that teardrop turn back for the ILS runway 23 right, Manchester. Here we are on final approach runway 23 right at Manchester. Once again, I'd like to say thank you to Emma Bentley from UKX for making this suggestion that I record this video, and I hope you found it useful. Don't forget, it's available on xplane.org. It's by Zybo or Zibo, however you pronounce it. I will put links below in the description. Also links for SkyMax Pro version 4, real weather connector, and FSG RW. Here we come. Slowing down now for the final landing phase of runway 23 right, Manchester. Also, don't forget you can get Manchester Airport on xplane.org as well. Everything you need is there. This looks superb, thoroughly enjoyable, and I hope to see you all soon. Wycliffe Barrett, Xplane dedicated. Bye bye.
Yeah.